So I'm really excited because we are finally, after months of planning, we're finally doing our really super cool LED pegboard light installations for our exterior mood lighting where we just put our new patio. It's going to be really awesome. Stay tuned.
First step before you apply the adhesive LED lights is definitely going to be cleaning your surface to make sure there's no residue or dust. Otherwise it won't stick, and that's just kind of embarrassing. Now that I've finished getting my tape in place, I'm going to drill the hole for the pigtail for these LED lights. When making multi-directional runs with LED tape light, you are going to end up using some specialty connectors like you see here. For example, this T that's going to be installed here to allow the strip to head down the center of the panel while continuing around the remainder of the perimeter. Pay attention to the pin positioning on these ribbon strips as they do change. For example, on this end, the 12 volt is closest to my right hand, or the left side of your screen. But when you get over to this side, the 12 volt is actually to the right side of your screen, or my left hand. So just be sure you pay attention to the pin positions. This is silicone, so you will want to strip it all the way down. You can see the copper contacts here that are all labeled for the appropriate pin positions. I would recommend keeping your cut-resistant gloves on while doing this.
So today we are going to install the light boards on the side of the house. We've never done this. Hopefully it's really smooth and easy. We've marked where the panels are going to go. It's hard to see, but there's some pencil there. And we've marked where the other one's going to go. Hopefully we did our planning and this thing is going to work out. So John even had to do some soldering because we used a cord, a really skinny cord that he had to attach the LED light strip to. So he had to solder these wires, right?
Yeah, so there's going to be really no clean way of getting a connector this size through a 3/4 inch sidewall. So in order to do that, it takes a 5/16 hole, or 3/16 hole I should say, and you feed it through, and then you make your connections once you're behind the panel, and hence the solder and the heat shrink to ensure that it withstands the elements.
So all of this is waterproof?
Correct, it's all waterproof. And these are snap together connections that I went ahead and taped the connection together as well, largely because I don't want to have to take this down because a connection decides to come apart.
So the panels are now mounted on the house, and John, what kind of screws did you use?
Headlock, structural wood screws.
Okay, we used 4 screws, and we are not going to caulk or anything around the side of the panel because we actually really like how it looks with the light illuminating out from the sides. And now all we have sticking out is that little wire.
Pigtail.
And it's called a pigtail?
Correct.
And is this for boats?
These are for any applications for LED lighting, so cars, boats, I don't know.
And this is the piece that you soldered?
Correct. This is the piece that I soldered. They are waterproof. They do have a gasket around the connection. It's a 4-pin connector.
Okay. Show us what you're doing.
Just simply connecting, and pay attention to the groove and the tongue when you're using these. Line up the pin positions. You can see there's also arrows here. So as long as you keep your arrows pointing towards each other, you should be okay. You can see how that gasket, that O-ring I should say, actually pushes right up against there.
And that's what makes it air or watertight.
Correct. And there it is. And then this will end up running over to the junction box, which is where the light controller will be. I'll need to solder again onto these to solder the connections into the light controller themselves.
So the panels are up, they have power, and we're gonna check back when it's dark and see what it looks like at night. The lights are finished, they are functioning properly, they do all kinds of different cool, crazy stuff. They have a remote that can control them, or you can control them through an app on your phone. They can go with music, you can dim them, they do all sorts of stuff. I think they turned out pretty well. What do you think?